mentally and emotionally, it can be extremely exhausting. And then if you are lucky enough to be chosen for an interview, that can be even more stressful. Joining me now is Michael Hayes, the owner of Momentum Specialized Staffing, who helps people find jobs, sharing some of his top tips for interviewing and also some of the top mistakes that people make. So it's good to have you on the show.
Yes, thanks for having me.
The market right now is tough. People trying to find work, and when you get that coveted job interview, you got to really knock it out of the park, it seems.
Well, you also need to be prepared when you go into interview. You need to know who you're going to be meeting with. You need to know something about the company. Make sure you put some questions down that you have that you can ask when you're being interviewed, so you can make yourself sound like you're interested in actually being there.
Well, let's talk about mistakes, because I always like to start from other people's mistakes so that they are not, our failures as well. So what would you say some of the most common mishaps in interviewing are?
I think some of them, and there's so many, but a lot of them are the dressing inappropriately, the wearing of flip-flops and things like that are a no-no. Revealing clothes, having issues with answering questions truthfully, not having your thoughts together good enough. Those type of things can really make it look like you're not prepared to be in somebody's office looking for a job.
Can you overdress for an interview? Let's say you walked in a, whether you're a man or a woman, you walked in a suit, but it was a more casual kind of job. Can that kind of make you, not look favorably to the person hiring?
No, actually, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think most people should have an interview outfit. I mean, it was money tight. Buy some clothes that you only use to interview in. Take them home, don't wear them around, and make sure you shine your shoes. Don't look like you've been playing soccer all day with them.
Okay, so appearance is huge.
Correct.
Well, what about, and many times I've been asked this question, what would you say your weaknesses are? So let's pretend, let's do a role play. If I'm the person interviewing and I say to you, what are your weaknesses? How do you answer that?
Well, what I would do personally is I would highlight an area that I wanted to improve on. Like I would say, I need to spend more time on the tasks at hand rather than thinking of the betterment of what's going to happen to the company maybe 2 or 3 years down the road. I need to focus more on the tasks at hand.
So, but so many times people are a little nervous to put out those weaknesses because they want to look like they don't have any.
Well, the thing is that's kind of that's a question that I don't really ever ask, because I know nobody's ever going to really tell you the answer.
The truth, sure.
So basically you give them an answer that you think they would like to hear. And remember, most of the people that interviewing you are not very well trained in interviewing. So you have to be aware that they haven't had a lot of formal training. So this could be somebody that's been forced into doing it. So having them like you is a lot more important too.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the difference between what you would call interviewing and interrogating.
Well, an interviewing is more of a conversation, but it's not like a conversation with your buddy when you're banging back a few drinks. It's a conversation that you're having with somebody that you may have just met in a social setting. Think of it that way. Don't think of it as something that you have to be very casual. Don't use casual language and, call people hit man and dude and things like that. So you have to kind of filter what you're saying and think about what you're talking about.
Is there any body language, though, if you can't use common and comfortable language, any body language that can kind of make you seem a little bit more relatable or a little bit more approachable?
I think you have to focus on people's eyes when you're talking to them. Anytime you're wandering around with your eyes and not looking at people and focusing on your briefcase or playing with your hair, which is a common tactic people do, that shows that you're nervous, and then that kind of brings out items that you might say that you wouldn't have said normally just because you want to say something.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's end it with this. We've got just maybe 30 seconds. Usually the interviews end with, do you have any questions for me? That's like the hardest question.
Yes, always write down a question. Ask something about the company, ask about, how do they go about hiring, how do they promote people, things of that nature. Always have a question, and don't forget to close for the job. Always ask for the job at the end of the interview. That's the most important thing.
Okay. All right, I think I could get a job. I think I could. Thank goodness I already have one, though. All right, thanks a lot. And we're going to have Michael's website on our website, SonoranLiving.com. I like it.